Welcome to the brush. In the last video we washed most of the parts of this model with some rattling grime. However, we still had the big radar dome to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to paint in the radar dome in a single step and then come back and hopefully pick out some of the recess details that I want to darken down further. So this time I'm taking the rattling grime neat from the pot and I'm literally going to paint this on as quickly as I can without worrying too much about the quality. What I want to do at the moment is I just want to get it down and on and keep a wet edge so that I'm not building up a dry edge that I'm going to have to work against. So that's why I'm rushing and trying not to break things. And yes, it does look a little bit unsightly at the moment, unfortunately. Sometimes that can be the way things go. Things don't look polished at first. It's a case of my message to any new hobbyist would be, do not give up hope. Just a couple of bits were starting to dry. Unfortunately, weather in the UK is not helping. Alright, that's been thrown on there as fast as I can throw that on there physically. I'll take a little bit more of our rattling grime, tin it with a little bit of water. This time I'm using water rather than the Lamia medium because I don't want to thin it too much and I don't want the consistency of a wash. I'm literally trying to come in, and all I'm now trying to do, this is slightly damp still, not completely dry. What I'm trying to do is come around the deepest recesses with almost neat rattling grime and just darken those down a little bit more for when we come back in at it. So after this is completely dry, we're going to give it a dry brush with either Iron Warrior or Lead Belcher first, and then Lead Belcher and Stormhost Silver where we need it. Just trying to deal with some things that are less pleasant with the model. If I'd thought about it, I might have backfilled that first, so that I might have to do it at a later date. So the only other part on this that I really want to darken down is this coil section, that's the inner section of this groove. Just want to make it darker than the surrounding metal. And we've got the same situation just on the inside top. Doesn't matter about the overspill because it is going to get dry brushed. We can't see it on that side, we can just about see it on the underside here. Just trying to make sure I don't forget anywhere. I've just seen a little bit of the model from earlier that we didn't get, so I will darken that down. This bottom part will more likely be dirty anyway because the grime and everything, the weathering compounds and everything, the rust and all of that would flow down a vertical section as it got wetter and wetter, so you'd end up with some rust streaks running down it. So we will come back and tackle that at a later date. Again, major connection point, and darken it down. Likewise, do the same around this top bit, whilst trying not to touch the very top of the dome. The last part that I'd like to darken down again a bit more is these vents at the back. I'm not sure they are quite dark enough yet. running some more neater material into it will help. We'll probably end up using some Army Painter or Army Painter Standard Black or some Chaos Black or something to sponge on some heat exhaust carbonisation, probably over those bits. So I'm going to leave that to dry fully, and we should come back in a little while when we're able to dry brush it. Now that rattling grime that we've just put down has now dried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint with a dry brush, damp one like that, put a bit of moisture down, wet the brush, check it on the back of my hand, make sure I can't see it but feel it, and I'm going to take lead belcher, and for most of the metallics apart from the sphere I'm going to come back in with some lead belcher. I'm going to go with a slightly darker colour for the dome on top. So I'm going to start with the back of the tank. I've just put a little bit of lead belcher on my brush, check it on my hand. I've worked a fair bit of it off, the brush is still damp, and all I want to do is come back in and catch the edge of this steel ring and just soften out that transition. And maybe bits that are still damp in the recesses, I'm not going to worry about those. And again, I'm going to work from the outside towards the centre because I want to try and avoid getting this paint on the armour we've already done. So I'm just trying to be a little bit careful. So I'm working when coming up to the armour, I'm working from the middle of the plate to the edge, but using the ferrule of the brush to stop my progress, so I can't go any closer than where the ferrule's let me get to. At the back I'll go the opposite way, just because I could quite easily overrun into the back of the track. And as this bit hasn't yet been painted, it don't matter. Bit more pigment onto the brush. That just gives us a little bit more detail on those bits, because it brings out the recessed detail by us doing this. Not going to worry about the cog because that's always going to be covered. Coming on our Sargotta's platform that we've used, I'll reload some more pigment into the brush. A little bit out. Again, checking it on the back of my hand, seeing what the coverage is like, and I'll start where I can't see it too often, and I'll start on the other side, try and get rid of some of these darker blemishes by stippling in to start with, and then once we're happy, I'm just going to start dry brushing out. Again, middle outwards, there's no point trying to dry brush inwards. They're going to be the darkest bits anyway, so they're going to be the least seen. And one of the things I like about these makeup brushes is the size of them tends to mean that we don't have to worry about bending parts or components because they're soft enough that they don't tend to cause a problem. So load a little bit more pigment back in. And notice that I'm going across rather than along. If I was going along, I might knock out some of that recess detail, whereas most of what I'm doing, I want to try and pick up the top parts but leave that recess still dark. So wherever you end up with a change of direction of your brush. I don't know, I may even come back in and do those posts in Doombull brown or something just to make them look like they're wood. It's kind of intriguing idea that I've had as I'm painting it. Again, middle to the edge if you can. Can't always, but it kind of helps establish our natural shadows and recesses where you can't get the brush to. It can have an advantage. There may be another bit of the table that I'm missing. Just noticed there might be a piece missing here, I don't know. I'll have to have a look at the plans. Let's try and get some paint at the back of these. So it's one of the things I like about these, they do allow you to go quite hard on the model without worrying about really breaking anything. Just try and get that little colour highlight. Right, onto the sphere, or the support of it at least, a little bit more pigment. Start at the back here. Which means we will have some corrections to do at the end. So I notice I'm trying to work in the one area that I don't have that grey armour, so that's where I'm dragging it out to. Here I may have to try and go from the edges inwards. If it will let me get in there to do something on them. Have to take a stippling approach to try and get any pigment in there. I don't want to risk getting too much on that armour if I can help it. That'll do. So the little lens piece, again, notice I'm working away from what I've painted. Allows me to get away with using a bigger brush still. And then onto the support. Work my way up the stem. this down for a second. Right, so we're more or less finished with the lead belcher for the moment. And whilst we've got the same brush, a similar tone, I'm actually going to pull out some of the Iron Warrior, which is a darker shade. Just mix it into the brush. So same process, just work my way around it lightly. At the moment I'm just going to go in one direction. Same on the top. Now that I've gone all the way up it, I'm going to get some more pigment out. See, the brush is still quite wet. I'll turn it around, I'll go a completely different direction to make sure that I haven't got any shadows that I haven't caught from another direction. Just generally speaking, it evens out the effect that we're after. I'll try and hold it, but another part of it. I'll try and do the same for the top. Now that that's done, I will come back at it with lead belcher. I'll just put it down over there for the moment. So put the Iron Warrior to one side, come back to our lead belcher, and I'll use this as the top colour that we use on this part. So now I want a fairly dry brush. So all I'm trying to do now is just flag out the details. And that is our armour dry brushed.